Joining us now to talk about what's next in the case is Alan Dershowitz. He's a professor at the Harvard University Law School, author of Taking the Stand. So much confusion here about what this case would mean if it was in America, for example. Let's first of all clarify this issue about double jeopardy. She can't be extradited because under US law, double jeopardy doesn't exist.
Well, there would be no double jeopardy under American law if an intermediate court of appeals reversed the conviction, because that's not a final judgment. That reversal was then reversed by a higher court, so there wouldn't be double jeopardy under American law. There is no double jeopardy under Italian law. There are thousands of American people in jail today on the basis of far less evidence than was presented against Amanda Knox. The evidence against her is very, very considerable. You wouldn't know that by listening to the American media that has been saying repeatedly that there's no evidence against her. She falsely accused somebody of committing the crime. She created a false alibi. She first admitted she was at the scene of the crime. They found forensically that multiple people had to commit the murder. The person who was convicted of the murder said she did it. The evidence is very, very considerable. Now, that may not be enough to persuade everybody or even to go beyond a reasonable doubt, but for people who say there's no evidence, they're just not telling the truth. There's considerable evidence, and she would probably be extradited under the law if she were if the conviction were affirmed. Now, this has become a very political case in the United States. Politicians and the media are all saying that she was innocent and that she's been railroaded by a court system that sounds like an Iranian court system. But that's just not true. And so if the case is decided under the law, she will be extradited. If it's decided by politics, perhaps not.
And a lot of people in Italy do feel as if their legal system is being questioned unfairly as a result of all of this, because, as you say, it's emotional, it's political, and there are other high-profile cases for extradition in the US to get people onto US soil. We're going to have a look at a couple of those and play into the debate, because including that of this man, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. The US wants to prosecute him for publishing hundreds of thousands of classified documents on his site. He's holed up in Ecuador's embassy here in London, avoiding extradition to Sweden for sexual assault allegations. Kim.com is wanted on piracy charges for his now-defunct file-sharing site, Mega Upload. He's currently in New Zealand. The US says he cost the entertainment industry $500 million. Film director Roman Polanski has avoided extradition to the US for decades. He fled to Europe in 1978 after pleading guilty to sexual offence. In 2009, the Americans got close to getting him back, arresting him in Switzerland, but the Swiss denied the extradition. So, is there an element of hypocrisy here on behalf of the American authorities, America?
Well, more than hypocrisy. The United States probably seeks to extradite more people than any other country in the world. And if we don't comply with our treaty obligations, we will not be able to insist that Italy and other European countries extradite to the United States. Moreover, who are we to lecture Italy about our criminal justice system? We treat poor people and minority people much worse in the United States by our criminal justice system than they do in Italy. So we really have no standing to tell other countries that their system is unfair. And based on this evidence in America, if she were not an attractive young woman, if she were an ordinary person charged on the basis of this evidence, she would be convicted and would be serving life imprisonment, or even worse, perhaps the death penalty in the United States.